Okay, the meeting's back into order, and there were no decisions made in the executive session. DJ, do you have anything?
Yes, the next up would still be on prairie dogs.
Okay.
At this time of the year, there's always the time of the complaints, where we come in, we take complaints, and prepare for the season to start October 1st. So yes, and starting October 1st, any of these complaints, we will then start our enforcement, as we have before, with the warning letters and proceeding. But right now, nothing can start until October 1st due to the pesticide label laws and the EPA laws.
Okay.
But I do have several on the books this year, so you know that I will be working with Leslie on working toward correcting these problems throughout the county.
So if a landowner does receive a warning letter, will the warning letter have specifics on there, how you can correct this, or?
Yes and no. On our warning letters, we leave it to their option. They have the option to figure out what they want to do for their control, or they have the other option of hiring the prairie dog department to then come help eradicate that with the same rates we have. So we will bring machinery, people, bait, and then when we're finished, there'll be an itemized bill and given 30 days or so for payment to be made. But now, once the legal warnings have been sent and nothing happens and nothing is done and there's not due diligence, we reapproach, and then the county attorney, Leslie, would then send one final letter giving them 15 business days to make progress, or on the 16th day, weather permitting, I and my crew would be there to make sure it's done.
And then that bill would go to the landowner?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it sounds like they're kind of taking over the county, so a lot to do. Margie, we want to include you in this conversation. Did you have something specific you wanted to?
Listening.
Okay.
I'm the one that's been going out every other day and doing what I can do to keep him back off of my property.
Yeah. Well, as DJ said, we can take some enforcement action as the county commissioners, but we can't do it until October 1. And that's based on some federal EPA rules about how dangerous the actual bait is. So you can't start baiting until October 1. At that time, they'll send out warning letters to the landowners where there's a problem and say, hey, you've got this amount of time to do something. And if you don't do it by that time, we're going to come out and do it and then send you the bill. Is that?
But I have to wait till October 1st.
Apparently so.
By then they'll be up in my corral.
Yeah, we're kind of in a rock and a hard place there.
Is there other stuff bait you could use, or?
No, not as a bait. During the summer, you can use fumitoxins, and I don't know if the state has changed the laws on that, but you have to apply to the K-State for a permit to obtain the fumitoxin and for also containment. It takes special containment due to it's so deadly that you basically have a hazardous material storage area to even obtain it.
I think that's correct.
Yes. So it's expensive and harder to come by than what it sounds, and so it's not very effective for most private landowners to try to obtain this. And the other option is to hunt them during the summer.
Yeah, and that's not totally effective. I mean,
No.
You might reduce it by a few percent, but you're not really denting them very bad.
But no, and I do understand Margie's dilemma, where yes, when you have a property and adjoining and a large number is coming across, it's hole after hole after hole, but during this time of the year, I legally cannot do anything about it. And it's a misfortune, and I've spoke with Margie about it, and I'm trying to do the best I can to get you guys to help and support me and do what's necessary when the time comes.
Yeah, we will. We have no other choice, but because that's the correct thing to do. The biggest problem is just waiting till October 1. We don't know how bad these things are going to spread.
There isn't anything that I can do now.
I don't know. I can't answer that.
Landowners can, because it's their land, look into options. However, if the county is going to be involved, we are stuck to the October 1st date.
I think what she's trying to say, Margie, you can take whatever steps you feel is necessary on your land. The only thing is, we can't help you until October 1. So yeah, you have some options, but I truly don't know what they are.
Like I said, that what I know between hunting or coming up with a different type of poison than the diphascinones, that there's not option to do, but most of these require an applicator's license at the least.
Yes,
Besides hunting.
it'd be really tough for you to go out and try to hire somebody because they can't do it either if they're a licensed.
I know years ago, they poured gas down the wall and covered it up.
They- I'm sorry, I missed that.
Poured gas down the wall.
Oh, I've heard of that.
False toxins.
Price of gas.
Your grandpa used to do that.
Yeah, don't put much down.
A cup of bronze gases. That's what he used to say.
Is there some kind of a poison that I can buy?
Well, that's what we're trying to discuss, because I don't think it's available to you either, because to get the true poison, you have to have an applicator's license to buy it,
And I don't have.
and you don't have. And we can't buy ours until October 1
Yes.
either. It's just not available.
Well, that's a long ways away.
I know
Yeah,
it.
yes, and I'm not, Margie, I cannot give you an idea to use that would compromise legalities and make me make false statements that I do not wish to make, or to,
Yeah, we don't want to lead you astray.
Yeah.
We want to help you, but we can't until October 1. Is the
Margie, have you
bottom
talked
line.
to other landowners with prairie dog problems?
Do what?
Have you talked to other landowners that
I
have prairie
did.
dog problems? You might consult them as to what they do.
Well, they called DJ and DJ come out and took care of them.
You might visit with other landowners and see what options may be out there. Okay? And then come October 1, the county can get involved, and if nothing's changed, the county will get involved and we'll
Okay.
get on it, okay?
Will you mark that on your calendars?
yes, she is
I don't
probably,
think we'll forget, Margie.
no.
Well, DJ's been a big help, and I appreciate him coming out, and
Well, good. Well, thank you for saying so. And we have a lot of great employees in this county. And we're here to help you, but we've got to follow the rules. And
I know you do. I know you do. I just wish there was something I could do myself that would be more effective than what I've been doing.
Like the black-footed ferret or something that they're trying to protect.
Yes, the black-footed ferret is the endangered species within Kansas. The only place it is located is Logan County, where they have a reserve at this time. Cheyenne County has no endangered animals restrictions, and that's for what our resolution, once a town is called for eradication, I can do so completely to the best of our ability. But yes, it usually does not happen in one season. It takes 2 or 3 seasons, I mean, a heavy baiting, heavy due diligence out there to do it properly. And I have achieved pretty great results throughout the county so far.
And
Well-
I will tell you, I've killed 2 rattlesnakes down there now this summer.
oh yeah,
They're attracted to those.
they're always like
poles,
prairie dog
and
towns.
I'm getting too old for that.
Old or young, we don't want you to have to do that. So, well, Margie, I wish we could have more encouraging things for you, but we'll wait and see what happens. And then,
All right. Thank you guys for
All right.
meeting with me. Thank you.
Thank you,
DJ.
Margie,
Margie.
for coming. Then other than that, that's all I have. I appreciate your time, but yes, we'll communicate, and I'll probably see you again in October.
All right. Thanks, DJ. Is the hospital here? Yep. Oh, yep, Rance is here. Good morning, Rance.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're plenty ready for you. Actually, timing was perfect, so
Good deal.
how are you this morning?
Very good. Very good. Just update on where we are. Our volume for the month of July, got those numbers a little bit earlier this month, and those our volume continues to increase, so we're looking good there. We had a really good month in June, and now looks like July's even better, and so that's sort of a relief because our previous 2 months our revenue was about half of what it was normally, and so we're gradually catching up a little bit. Problem is our expenses are much more than what they used to be with all of this, keeping up with all the PPE and equipment and everything like that. We got a new kiosk in, the temperature kiosk, that we have 3 of them now. There's one in the hospital front entrance that it automatically takes your temperature when you come in, and that helps us that we're not touching everybody with the and it does it within 3 seconds. It's a real quick.
It's accurate?
take, and it's accurate. We have been messing with that, making sure, and it's pretty accurate. And,
Does one person have to pass through at a time?
Yeah, and it's just a little screen there. You just stand in front of it. It zooms in on your face, and your temperature flashes on the screen.
Huh.
And so we'll have one set up in the clinic, and here, and one in the clinic in Bird City, so that.
So if
that
an individual does approach and say is running a temperature, they're not going to be allowed in the facility.
Right. What we're asking them to do is, if they're there for lab work or a procedure or something, then they have to put on a mask before they go anywhere else. If they're there to visit, we're not letting them come in to visit, and going from there. So,
Okay.
yeah. Provider recruitment. I'm in the process of recruiting a new PA in addition to what we have, and another doctor. I think Dr. Lick's wearing herself thin already, and I've been looking at numbers, and I may have shared this at a previous meeting. I'm not sure if I did, so I apologize if I did, but you can see a trend, this up and down of our revenue when Dr. Lick goes on vacation. I look back over the whole last year, and you can tell when she's not there. And same thing with Tyler and Crystal. If they're out for a few days and not seeing patients, our revenue takes a big dip. And so we've got to get that consistent. We've got to get a more steady flow, something that doesn't have these ups and downs. And so we did the numbers, and so we can safely add 2 more providers to our staff, full-time staff. And I'm requiring them to live in St. Francis. And so we're recruiting them, and we've got an interview Monday with a PA. And then we're looking for another family practice physician that does OB as well, so that they can help relieve Dr. Lick, take some call from Dr. Lick, so she's not constantly having to take OB and ER call. So give her a little bit of a break. And
Well, we all kind of worried from the beginning that
yeah, I do not want to wear her out. She is doing a heck of a job. I'm proud of what she's doing, and I mean, she is a go-getter, I tell you. And along with Tyler and Crystal, they're doing a great job. Spending a lot of money on my other 3 providers that are locums that we contract in.
so it makes much better sense to.
Yes, and once we did the numbers, I was like, for what I'm paying, bringing in those locums, I could have my own providers right here for what I'm paying them. And so that's what we're working towards right now. That's my big priority right now, is get us some more
I
help.
think it's gonna be easier getting
To-
with this COVID and all the.
It's
the mess.
actually, there,
You know what I'm
a
saying?
lot of providers have lost their, especially those that were working in family practice offices, like mid-levels that work in family practice offices. A lot of them have lost their jobs, and due to COVID, because the volume went down in their clinics, and so they got laid off, and so there's a lot looking for work, and I'm sort of surprised at how many hits we're getting. I'm knock on wood. I hope but it seems like that it may be much easier this time
I
around.
mean, we've had a hard time getting doctors.
Uh,
And I would
and
think some of them might, want the way these cities are,
Yeah,
get out of the cities, get to the rural country.
Yeah.
The rural
and
areas.
I'm getting the sense that a lot of these doctors that are in the urban environments are like, you know what, I'm rethinking this, and I don't know if I want to be in this bigger facility, bigger hospital anymore.
That's what I
So
was wondering, if it might not
beginning
be
to,
easier.
yeah, beginning to get some ideas that they may be looking for something more peaceful.
In your recruitment advertising, I think I'd make a point of that. Hey, we live a slower paced life here. Come join us.
We are stressing it. We actually, the guy that is doing my recruiting for me, I have used him in the past in Texas, and he's recruited 3 providers for me in the past, and everyone that he's recruited for me has stuck. We're there in Texas, so I trust him. I actually brought him in a couple of weeks ago. We sat down with Dr. Lick and Erica, and the 4 of us, we sat and we had a meeting for about 2 hours, getting exactly what Dr. Lick feels like we need here. And then the big focus was, you have to live in St. Francis. You're 2.5 hours from nearest airport. You are very rural, and if you're not interested in that, we're not interested in you. And so that is all up front. And
I think that would be rather appealing to somebody trapped in a metro setting.
Especially
Yeah.
right now, COVID.
yeah. So I'm excited though. That we're already getting some good candidates, and so I'm excited about finding the right fit for us and getting some new help in here and support what's already going on. So we've got 3 strong ones, I feel like, with Dr. Lick and Tyler and Crystal, and if we can find the right fit to support them and continue what we're doing, I think we'll hit a home run there. So,
Good.
COVID testing, we're still waiting on equipment. That is, we're on the back burner on that, just waiting for them to tell us when that equipment will be ready to be shipped to us. And as soon as it's in here, we get it calibrated and set up and approved, then we'll be able to do our own testing in the hospital and in both clinics.
Does
With a 15-minute turnaround time.
So it is a
Test.
rapid test type
Rapid
thing.
test, yes,
So
sir.
if a individual would test positive in your rapid test, then we're going to go back to a laboratory test to confirm that, or?
No, if they test positive on that, it's considered
That's it, huh?
positive. If they test negative but they have symptoms, I hope I'm saying this right. If they test negative but have symptoms and the provider feels like, you know what, I'm not sure about that, then it's sent to a laboratory for further
Okay.
testing. And I'm working on getting that piece of equipment in our lab so we don't even have to send that out, and we're able to do it in-house. And that turnaround time for that piece of equipment, I think, is a 45-minute turnaround time. So
And I'm sure it's
that's
like you say, everybody and their cousin wants this equipment right now, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pain to get these tests sent out, and then
Because what's the wait time between,
3 to 4 days.
yeah,
It
a
is-
lot can happen in
and-
3
And
days.
if it's over a weekend, then it's going to be longer.
Yeah,
So, and that's a long time for somebody to be sitting there waiting for a result, and you're telling them, you need to stay home until we get the results, or you need to wear a mask until you get the results. And, I mean, chances of that really happening, honestly, are probably slim,
Yeah.
and so, if we could just get those results right away, that would solve a lot of problems.
and what's the criteria for administering the test?
The same as it is right now. If they show symptoms, any of that list of symptoms from KDHE, and it doesn't have to be the temperature anymore. You don't have to have a temp. It's just any of those 2 symptoms, then you can be tested.
They're eligible for
COVID.
the test.
Yeah, and honestly, if with our own testing equipment, if you request to be tested, if you're like, man, I would like to be tested, then we can do it.
At their
At their
expense?
expense. They have to pay for that. Insurance probably won't, I don't think insurance will pay for that. The patient has to pay for it if they're not showing any symptoms.
So,
But
once we
can
get the
do it.
equipment in, whenever that is, and we have an individual who would like to be tested, symptoms or no symptoms, still going to be at their expense, right?
Yes, and it does come down to the provider. If the provider says, I really don't feel like we need to order that for you, it's really down to the provider. They have to make the decision to order it, but they can.
I understand.
It's an option. Yes, sir.
All right. Strange times.
It is. And that's about all I've got for you.
Well, thank you, Rance. And
Yes, sir. All right.
keep us posted, and good luck on your hunt.
We are too. We are too.
Well, we're okay for now, but looking into the future, if we want to protect what we have, that's,
Our number, we've had a couple more positives since last commissioners meeting I was here, but we've, this week, we revamped our policy again. Every time we learn something new, every time we have another positive case, because we start getting questions from the community, from people involved and different things, and it brings up, you know what? Let's go back to our policy. We revamp it, and then we roll out a new revision to it. And so we just did that, finalized it yesterday, rolled out new revision, and it's just an ongoing learning process for us of
Same with
how to
us.
manage it.
Same with us.
So, but everybody's doing well, staying on top of it, and
Just a quick question. You haven't had any hospitalizations from COVID, right?
No.
They've
No,
all
sir.
been managed from home.
yeah, they've all been managed from home, and none has been admitted to the hospital.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
All righty, thank you guys. Y'all have a good weekend.
Morning, Brian.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Good. Hi, Commissioners. Leslie. Hi, Scott. Real quick, I'm coming from Colorado, so would you prefer me to wear a mask? I don't know what your all's
No,
policy
you're welcome
is.
you're welcome to not.
Okay, I just
Okay.
want to always make
Whatever
sure.
you're comfortable with.
I'm perfectly fine the way we
All right.
are, but I just want to, of course.
Then we're good with you, and I appreciate you asking.
You betcha.
You back there and setting that back.
All right, I'm I'm going to yell up to you all.
You're hard
okay?
of hearing anyway, so.
What page are you on? So, well, fantastic. So let me give you guys our quarterly report. Everything's looking pretty straightforward, so it shouldn't take all too long on the process. So, go.
And I put you at the same time on the.
On the 30th?
Yep.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Fantastic. All right. So, pretty much here we are again, kind of a straightforward process. Taking a look at kind of where we are with things. Before I kind of jump into it, how are things going? Are things kind of moving along in a good process? Any feedback from individuals?
I
Or?
think Scott would be more able to answer that.
Haven't anybody complaining, so.
Okay, well, that's always a good thing. No complaints is a good thing.
That's
So-
kind of rare nowadays.
Yeah, that's, in this day and age, everything is Upside down, it seems like. So, well, I don't want to take too much of y'all's time, so I'll just kind of jump right into it. If you guys want to go ahead and turn to page number 1, it has the yellow highlighted numbers there. We always kind of start out there. We kind of take a look at kind of what we had projected and then kind of where we are. And so the two numbers that we always kind of look at on this page is kind of the middle column here where it kind of says 6.09%. You see that? We're running about 6% over what we projected early on as far as the, for the entire year. A lot of that was based on some claim numbers and so forth. But the next column over, we always got to factor that one in too, based on the, how you guys have your system set up. If we roll back in those reserve numbers, we're still 31.64% under, okay? So that's important because that money, obviously is yours and, part of your account. So we roll that back in and we're doing really well, okay? And this was I kind of look back to some of the numbers when I was here. Well, actually, when I did last time, it was did we do the quarterly? It was a phone one, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. Okay. So everything's looking pretty similar to what that quarterly review was back then. So moving right along, the next page, the column we kind of look at here, there's different columns in here. But one column I want to kind of show you guys, because I kind of mentioned things like, we had some claims and that type of thing. Right in the middle, the column says monthly medical claims paid. Can you guys see that column right there? Mm-hmm. If you go down to about April, okay, that was kind of after my quarterly, you see how we got a lot of claims kind of pushed in that month right there? That's what kind of inflated those first numbers I mentioned, why we're a little bit over. Then you could see our reserve bank balance in April drop down significantly, right? So we start kind of building back up. Now I'm on the far right-hand column, reserve bank balance, right? And where you guys sit as of June of this year, we're doing fantastic. And that's kind of why we start backing those numbers into it, that we're looking good as compared to the front page. Does that make sense in comparison, kind of explaining those numbers? Mm-hmm. So on one hand, we got hit with some claims, right, which kind of hit our annual numbers, but then we start pushing back in those reserve numbers, and we're looking a lot better, okay? So always want to kind of compare that apples to apples. Any questions on that page right there? Pretty straightforward. This is real similar. I'm really kind of impressed that our reserve bank balance is doing good. We're on a great track there. So you can go all the way back to January. We're at 83,000. So we're doing fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. All right. So the next column, this is you guys self-fund your dental. So this is your aggregate stop-loss report. There's always two numbers that we look in here. There's a bunch of numbers in between the numbers I want you guys to kind of take a look at. But in the upper right-hand corner right here, you guys see these numbers right here? That's what we had kind of projected for your self-funded dental plan. So, for example, a single was $1,599, a family was $5,971, and so forth. So if that's what we projected, if you look at this column right here, you guys see that column right there? Mm-hmm. Okay, kind of the lower right-hand side. That's what we're actually coming in at, okay? So if you did a quick kind of comparison, we had projected $1,599 for single, and we're coming in at $1,142, okay? So we're doing great on dental as well. So we're lower than projected, all right? And all those numbers seem to actually do quite well for dental. Any questions on the dental page? I mean, obviously, there's more information you probably really want to look at there in that whole spreadsheet. But anyways, those are the two main numbers I think are worth kind of taking a look at. We always like to include, if you want to skip to the next page, we always want to kind of take a look at your top benefits by group. What are we talking about? We're talking about lab, chiropractic, prescriptions, and so forth. So we can kind of take a look at those numbers. It's kind of interest to kind of see where our numbers are going. We almost always have the prescription numbers are always at the top. If you look back through years of our reports, those are what you're going to see is the prescription numbers are always pretty high. And there's pages and pages of this, of top benefits. I'm sorry, not pages and pages. The next page, I'm sorry, is top providers. So we always like to take a look at the top benefits and we look at the top providers. And it is kind of interesting, just so you guys know, we're trying to always keep a good, accurate tab on the numbers. If you guys were to go back to top benefits, do you see at the bottom? I'm going to take you guys back one page. I apologize. Do you see down here at the bottom right here where it says $51,992? Can you guys see that on the top benefit? That's your benefits, which will always match the provider number. Okay, so we can see that. Okay, we're not just paying out just, ghost money. It's actually going to those providers. So now we can go on to the next provider page. Sorry about having you guys go backwards there. And you could see, of course, ServU. That's our prescription service that we use. So that falls perfectly in line with why it's one of our top benefits. Can everybody see that one so far? Okay. All right, so we've had top benefits, top providers, the dollar amounts match up, so we know that we're on track. So that's kind of an interesting look, kind of getting an idea where the employees are going. Are they staying here locally? Are they going for, to other places, Denver, Nebraska, and so forth? So that's just one way of kind of utilizing that report, is seeing where everybody's kind of going. If we guys skip over a couple of pages here, those kind of continue on as far as top providers. We start getting into the ServU numbers, and we can kind of go through a lot of this stuff. It kind of gives you the numbers behind the numbers, if you will. What we always typically look at, I'm kind of on this page right here, this management review. I like to kind of skip to this is kind of the background info, or the background data. I kind of like to skip to this very next page here, guys, on prescriptions, and it has the pie charts at the bottom here. So we just love to give you guys a ton of information. You can make your decisions and have that at your fingertips. But as far as a summary or synopsis, I kind of like it taking a look at these pie charts right here. You guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Look at this green one right here with a little tiny sliver of purple in it, right? So you guys are having an excellent distribution of generic and then brand names. So you guys are at 3% for brand names. So your folks are utilizing the generic side of it quite well. So remember, if that got out of whack and we have a bunch more purple compared to the green side, then of course, then our numbers are going to go up dramatically. So your utilization is fantastic, and so you guys are doing a great job there as well. All right, any questions on that? So we've gone over prescription, we've gone over medical, we've gone over dental, and some of these other ones are just performance summaries, just background information, good nighttime reading when trying to have a hard time going to sleep at night, so you can read some of these reports. But I like to give you guys kind of the summary version of it all. And then really, we've gone over medical, we've gone over dental. The very last page here is basically talking about your guys' actual plans. So we've included your dental plan, and we've also included your medical plan in there. We just do that on every review, just so you always have that kind of background information as well. So on balance, we're just trekking along. It sounds like we don't have complaints to speak of, supposedly, and
No one's said anything to us.
Okay.
No one's come to a board
fantastic.
meeting.
Yeah, and the numbers are lining up. We're in a real good, steady place. So we had a little bump there in April. If you guys saw those numbers there, we had some good claims kind of coming in around April. But we got right back on track, and we're doing well. So, any questions for me, guys? Anything? Okay.
I think we're doing good.
Yeah. Well, I'll be back. We set up an appointment for your October 30th meeting, and we're going to do the renewal at that time. So we'll be trying to pull together numbers for you. Julie and I, in this particular case, will be coming back to see you, taking a look at how does Blue Cross stack up to United Healthcare, and letting you all have that decision to decide if we want to stick with Blue Cross, do we want to go in a different direction? We'll have those numbers so you can make that informed decision. So,
Okay.
yeah, so,
Thank you.
well, thank you guys much, and what crazy days we're living in. That's all I got to say. I hope it gets over with pretty quickly, so.
Everybody.
Pardon me?
November the 3rd, it'll settle down.
It seems, I get your point, yeah. And by the way, if you want to wait for a doctor, my son's going to medical school in about 2 years. But then after medical school, you'd have to wait about 8 years. Are you guys okay with that, or?
Yeah, sure. Might as well plan
You
ahead.
plan ahead, get it in the works
If
now.
we can get his signature on something.
So, yeah, we'll do it. I'll get that for you. So anyways, well, thanks you
good.
so much for having us, and we appreciate working with you guys. It's been a great relationship, and we want to just kind of keep continuing down that road. So call us
too.
if anything comes up or otherwise. So anyways, you guys have a great time until October 30th.
All right.
And I'll be bugging you again. So
Well,
all
thank
right.
you, Brian.
Well, you guys have a fantastic day. Okay. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Brian, can we take a couple-minute break?
He's gone all day.
Yeah.